Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video, we've got two stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user NoCherry6260. Am I the a-hole for not paying for the things that my toddler destroyed? I'm sorry in advance for the mistakes I'll make, as English is my second language. I, 36 female, have a 2.5-year-old son. He is energetic and curious like every child is supposed to be. Meltdowns are a common thing at this age, but he usually doesn't do that unless he misses sleep, gets sick, or something like that. I make sure to let him release his energy in playgrounds, etc. every day, so he won't climb the furniture, lol. Our parenting style is similar to that of a British show called Super Nanny, and by that I mean, for example, if you don't eat your vegetables, you won't get any desserts. No matter how much you cry, it won't change that. Or 7:30 p.m., which is the sleep time after our nighttime routine, unless there is an extreme case, but 99% of the time, he will be in his bed at that time. Of course, trying not to be in bed and to have more fun. We do a little dance and he will come back to me, I put him in his bed again and again. Rules are the rules. My mother-in-law, 58 female, lives far away from us and invited us to her home so she can see her grandson face to face instead of FaceTiming every day. Her home is filled with knickknacks, etc. I mean, it is not ideal to have my toddler live in there for a week, but with our parenting style, if we say no, it means no. So we thought it would be manageable with my 24/7 supervision. Unfortunately, we didn't take into consideration my mother-in-law's character. She is not a recovering people pleaser. She is a proud people pleaser. She thinks she is like Mother Teresa, but it is actually one of my husband's traumas that he had to act extra aggressively towards people to protect his mom from other people taking advantage of her. Anyway, she started giving my son chocolate cake behind my back because he refused to eat his proper meal. And I was like, he will eat when he is hungry. Apparently, she couldn't imagine a toddler being left hungry by his mother, and since he is refusing the meal, he has to eat something, right? Whenever my son has meltdowns for the things that I wouldn't let him do, she saves him from his despot mom and does the thing with him, because she couldn't bear watching him cry like it is the end of the world. Thanks to her week-long actions, now my son thinks my mother-in-law overrides my rules. He learned that if he cries enough, he can get what he wants. So now he doesn't stop crying for a long time, since eventually his angel of a grandma will save him. So, to the issue. Today I woke up with the flu and my mother-in-law volunteered to babysit him. After a few hours, she came to my room asking for me to pay for her kitchen cabinets. Apparently, he was banging a ladle on the cabinet doors and made a lot of dents on the paint. I was like, where were you when it happened? She was right there. She wouldn't leave him alone, of course. Why didn't you take the ladle from his hands? Well, he didn't let her. After the meaningless back and forth with similar questions, I already had a headache from my sinus. So I just went back to sleep saying, nope, I won't pay. And it seems like you need to discipline your grandson and be the bad guy for the first time. Now she is crying in her room. So am I the a-hole? What? No, of course you're not the a-hole, Loopy, and your mother-in-law sounds annoying. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but come on, going behind your back, undermining what you're teaching your kid, that's not right. Look, I understand that grandparents should be some sort of haven for children, you know, oh yeah, my grandma, my grandpa, they spoil me a little bit. But not like this. They should still reinforce the main teachings of the parent. Like yeah, every once in a while the grandparents would have a sweet or something to give the kids or take them out to the movies or to the playground or stuff like that. But not go directly against what the parent is teaching. But this case is just next level ridiculous. I mean, she allowed the kid to have the spoon or the ladle, bang on the cabinets, and she wants you to be responsible? He wouldn't give it to her? How strong is this kid that she couldn't take it away from him? No. This is on her. Full accountability on her. You shouldn't pay for anything. And what is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Soprana23 says, not the a-hole. Your son didn't let his grandma take the ladle back? Assuming your mother-in-law has perfectly functional hands, she should have easily been able to take a ladle from a toddler. Normally, I would say that parents are responsible for anything their child breaks, but it sounds like grandma didn't want to discipline your son under any circumstances, but has no reservations about making it your problem. And if your mother-in-law were better about enforcing rules and boundaries in the first place, your son probably wouldn't have been able to get a hold of the ladle and use it to hit the kitchen cabinets hard enough to cause noticeable cosmetic damage. Sadly, it sounds like these kinds of problems will persist unless you set hard ground rules with your mother-in-law. It'll take a while to get your son to stop associating his grandma with laxity in the rules, and he'll keep pitting the two of you against each other. Comfortable Way 1261 says, not the a-hole. My mother is like that as well. She never says no because she is grandma. She complains the kids don't listen to her and she cannot take them outside because they don't stop watching TV. She can't turn the TV off though because my son has the remote. How can she possibly be an adult and take it from him? But I digress. Lots of resentment there. She has some expensive glasses, and when my son was little and liked pulling things, she let him do it to her glasses because she's grandma. I told her I won't pay for them if he breaks them. She eventually made him stop. What I'm trying to say is, it was nice until the kids were small, but now they grew and she complains that they don't listen and stuff. I just chose to extract myself from the situation. I told her they also try this crap with us, but we shut it down quickly. Unless she does that as well, she'll have a hard time with them. And of course, she doesn't put her foot down, so I refuse to engage with her when she wants to complain. It's annoying, it's infuriating, but it's on her. Not the a-hole again. If this kid breaks stuff under her supervision that she wanted to do in the first place, then it's definitely on her. You can't play the nice grandma and expect others to pay the bill. And the Grace of the North says, not the a-hole. Notice how she has no trouble being the bad guy to you? Yeah, she's not the pushover she wants everyone to believe she is. This is selective and a form of manipulation. And why didn't she speak to her own son, but instead came to you as you were feeling ill? Because she's manipulative and has no problem being an a-hole to you. This whole people pleaser thing is an act. She used it to make her son prove his love for her by becoming her protector. It is to manipulating her son to showing again and again how much he loved her by protecting her from other people while making herself out to be the good guy. And she's doing it again now, acting like she's some victim here when she took no responsibility as an adult for parenting your son as she should have. Be very careful, she sounds extremely manipulative and may still have an extremely strong hold over your husband who does not see through her. She is deliberately messing with you, overriding your authority and trying to turn your son against you. This is about control and manipulation. Please get yourself out of there and speak to your husband about how she's turning your son against you and acting like she isn't a responsible adult while she has no problem coming to you sick and asking for money when she was responsible for that damage. I'd refuse too, not the a-hole, but please get out of there and limit contact as you can. Your husband needs therapy to learn to deal with her and learn to stop taking responsibility for her actions when all she's doing is playing helpless in order to make herself the good guy and garner sympathy. Alright, well, the community definitely agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and there were many different takes as to what is going on here with the mother-in-law. But regardless of the different theories, the major consensus is that the mother-in-law is the a-hole and she's responsible for what the kid was doing under her watch. So, now it's time to move on to the update to see how this story ends. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to click that like button, leave me a comment with your judgment in the comment section, and of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And now, let's move on with the update. So, after I took my rest, no longer having a headache, I sat down with my mother-in-law and talked about how her actions affect my son's relationship with me, and the environment he is in. I told her that undermining my authority was never a good idea. Even though I might be stricter than she prefers, this is how I choose to raise my son. I've been with him 24/7 since the day he was born. I also observed that he is happier and learning better with a more structured life. She tried to argue that she had been a mom for 36 years and I was just a mom for 2.5 years. I told her my son is not the same person as her son, so that they may have different needs. Plus, the times are different now. We grew up playing on the streets with our big cousins taking care of us, where a car barely passed by. Every neighbor knew us and there was a "it takes a village" situation going on. On the other hand, my son doesn't have that "let him free, they grow themselves" kind of luxury. Well, since in her head she is the best and nicest person around, she still tried to argue that whatever she did was for the good of her grandson. It took me to threaten her with letting my husband know about all of this and let him decide what to do going forward. Only then did she accept to act according to my wishes. Now, there were a lot of comments in my previous post about what my husband does meanwhile. Well, he travels for work. He just spent the first day with us, then hopped cities for a week, auditing the franchising locations he is working for. And when the week ended, he came to take us to our hometown, which was yesterday. I also try not to share every small disagreement with my husband, as he is always quick to take action instead of thinking it through. While we have the same principles about life and we agree about almost everything, yet I think his execution of some ideas needs some more grace, in my opinion. That was why my mother-in-law was afraid of his reaction to this situation. She knows for a fact he may decide not to allow her to see her grandson at all. In the end, she did what I told her to, but still tried to make me the bad guy by saying to my son, "Well, your mom told us not to do that," instead of saying, "It is a wrong thing to do." It took her half a day to revert back to her usual self. You guys were expecting some broken knickknacks when I mentioned them? Well, it happened. Her fridge door is full of magnets that she collected around the world while traveling in her younger days. I forbid my son from touching them all, and he did avoid them altogether, until she overrides my decision and says, "Being curious is good for kids. Let's look at them together and you can touch the plastic ones." My son, instantly being mesmerized by them, made it his life mission to explore every single one of them. He was now obsessed with them, and he slept all day and found himself in front of the fridge every chance he got. He doesn't know the concept of plastic or not, and of course eventually dropped and broke one of the non-plastic ones. I am not paying for that either. Lol. Karma, I guess. I am just glad that he didn't break the heirloom crystal glassware that was showcased in a show cabinet. That would have broken my heart as a wannabe history geek. P.S. A few comments made fun of me for referencing Super Nanny. I admit it was wrong of me to do that. I just wanted to paint a picture in your head about my parenting style, and I only watched 2 episodes and happened to agree with the methods used there. I googled the problems about Super Nanny and I learned that they were forcing kids to act out to have more drama on screen, and blasting kids' mistakes to public may result with them getting bullied at school, which is indeed abuse. My kid is not problematic, he is just energetic and curious, and I don't think I am punishing him by setting rules. He is more happy when he can guess what will happen next. Predictably, makes him feel safe and in control. Well, OP, I would say somewhat problem solved. I mean, maybe you can't change your mother-in-law completely because she needs a lot of help to change her people-pleasing personality, but at least she's following some of the rules, and now she's not complaining if the kid breaks anything. Now, regarding your parenting style, I like it. Rules are rules. I absolutely agree with that. Of course, in the kid's nature, they are going to try to push boundaries, and it's the adult's responsibility to set the boundaries and enforce them. Or else you just get entitled brats running around and ruining it for everybody else. In any case, here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing, and take care. And now, let's move on to the next video that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Indigo Bluish. Am I the a-hole for telling a married woman her marriage sounds miserable? USA. I, 45 female, attended a wedding a few weeks ago when a cousin, 55 female, was talking about how she wished I would married. I've heard the struggles of her marriage. She cheated, he took her back, they do everything he wants, she's given up her hobbies and learned to enjoy his. He controls the money and she works part-time and she could never afford to live on her own, etc. For 20 years, I've heard how I should get married. I've always said it's not a priority, and if it happens, it happens. I've repeatedly said throughout the years that I enjoy being single. I've been proposed to multiple times, and I like living life on my terms. I can embrace my hobbies, which are expensive, have a great job, live on my own, have great friends, travel, and have great long-term relationships. My life is full. I've been financially independent since I was 22. She has never been financially independent. The entire family knows I'm generous with my time and money, whether it's a gift or helping somebody out financially without expecting repayment, electricity, groceries, school expenses, etc. Marriage has never been a priority to me. I finally had it with the comments and her not respecting my life. I told her I respect her opinions, but I felt like her marriage was that of convenience and sounded absolutely miserable to me. I then said that I would die a slow death if I were in a marriage like hers, all of which is true. I like being able to make my own decisions, and if the right person comes along, it's fine. But it's not a goal of mine, never has been. The look of shock on her face said it all. She didn't care for that and is painting me out as mean. After 20 years of comments and pressure, I finally said what needed to be said to stop the comments. She couldn't fathom that somebody wouldn't want to have her life, and to me, it sounds like a prison sentence. She also can't fathom that somebody could be happy leaving my life. So, am I the a-hole? Nope, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole. Marriage isn't for everybody, and you know what? It is your life. You get to live however you want, and of course, whatever consequences come of that, they're yours, and you need to own them. You're comfortable and you're happy, you're living your life in your own terms, and that is absolutely valid. But I do need to clear out one thing. Your cousin is not in a marriage. Starting with the fact that she cheated, stepping out of her marriage, and then her idiot husband decided to take her back, but now absolutely runs and controls her whole life. I couldn't imagine being happy in either of their situations. Now, she feels she has some sort of moral high ground to tell other people how to live. She should just shut up and try to fix her life. No, OP, you are not the a-hole. And what is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. What's My Password 73 says, not the a-hole. Definitely the energy we need in 2024. If you insist on harassing a friend or family member about not marrying or not having children, I'm more than happy to put your life under a microscope as Exhibit A for why you should shut the F up. Every time we take the opportunity to make someone that pushy feel a trickle of fear, we all win. Remember 1959 says, not the a-hole. There's an old saying, misery loves company. My very single daughter keeps being asked when she's going to settle down by relatives in dismal relationships, and she's 40 this year. Far better to be happily single than browbeaten and financially dependent. And Fromasha says, not the a-hole. She had it coming. Not many people would have had the balls to say the truth like that. Be prepared for some frosty future family events though. I don't think she'll forget or forgive somehow. Well, the community very much agrees that OP is not the a-hole. So now, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. More on her audacity. She called me an hour ago bitching me out because I offered to give my second car to my brother's daughter for her 16th birthday since I never drive it. My niece posted on social media thanking me for being so generous. She wanted to know why I wouldn't offer it to her kid who is in college and needs it more than my niece. I simply told her it was my decision what I would do with my car and that my niece and I were close. She went on for 20 minutes before I bluntly said, it's my car and my choice of what I do with it. Deal with it. And then I hung up. Final update. I had a Zoom tonight with my family and we read through this. Unbeknownst to me, my parents and her parents have talked to her about this inappropriate behavior for years, going back to my 20s. Even saying, we don't talk about your choices, so stop pushing marriage on her. She's also made comments to my siblings trying to bring them down. My parents had no idea because we try not to make it a bigger deal. It's all jealousy. Well, my mild-mannered parents are pissed and have stated that in the next family get-together, they are going to ask her how she and her husband got past the cheating and make comments to her about her life choices and bullying. I think that's going too far, but given that the adults spoke to her several times and she keeps doing it, I'll allow them to put her in her place. Petty, but now that I know they spoke to her several times, the gloves are off. I'm not the a-hole. That's right, OP, you aren't. And you know what? After, 25 years of her bullying you guys? Yeah, your parents have all the right to put her in her place. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.